The second part of loving with an amazed and amused heart is to be empathetic and to actually step into the shoes of another person. And this is much, much harder than it sounds. Many of us think we're living in a state of empathy, but really we're living in a state of judgment. And if someone says, I've got an emergency, it's like, tell me what the emergency is. Let me decide whether or not this is really an emergency, instead of stepping into that other person's shoes. Many of you I had conversations with last night, and I love to go around and I ask you two questions. I ask you, what do you love about your job? And then I ask, what makes you crazy? And when I went around, and you guys didn't let me down a bit. Yeah, there were some answers about, I love the fact that it's different every day and I get to have a lot of variety. But across the board, the number one answer had to do with people. I love the people I'm taking care of. I love the veterans we're serving. I love my coworkers. I love the patients. I love their families. I love the residents. I love people. Yeah. So what drives you nuts? What do you think the number one answer is? People! People make me crazy. They're infighting and they're backbiting and they're ratting on one another and they're telling stories on one another and they never get their work done. People make me crazy. So I have come to appreciate that if you know a little bit more about the other person, it's a little bit easier to be empathetic, to step into that person's shoes. And one of the ways I do this is I look at personality types. And granted, these are broad generalities and a little bit stereotypic with a little twist of humor. But see if this will help you. I have found that in this group, just as every group that I've spoken to in healthcare, there's 3 basic personality types in this room. And as I describe them briefly, I want you to decide for yourself, am I working with this person, living with this person, married to this person, or oh my gosh, it's me? The first one is a type A. And we got a lot of type A's in here. Type A's are great. No personality is good or bad. They're just different, and many of us are a blend. But type A's, you love structure. You love timelines, bylines, flowcharts, pathways, critical care pathways. You got a plan, the plan is good, and you don't need to change the plan. If somebody wants to drive a type A crazy, you say, show me your plan, and it's like, why don't you reverse this? Take out B, reverse C, and it's like, no. No, and type A's, you make great leaders, you make great managers, you make great coworkers, you make great lovers, you make great friends. It's just that compared to the other 2 personalities, you have a little bit higher incidence of high blood pressure and heart attack and stroke. You're dying a little sooner than the other personalities. And so, here's a clue. If you are a type A, best assessment for a type A came from a nurse friend of mine, Kathy, in Minnesota. She asked this question: have you ever found yourself standing in front of a microwave going, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up? You're the same person that goes to the elevator. You push the light, it comes on, and then you push it again, push it again, push it again, because that's going to speed it up, right? And if there's one thing we would wish for a type A, would simply be a little more flexibility. Michael McGriff, a physician, once said, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape." Great piece of advice, and humor lends itself to that flexible thinking. Now, at the other end of the extreme, you've probably all dealt with this person at least once in your life. And this is the type B personality. And this is the person who has no stress in her life because she has no structure in her life. And you're trying to explain to her the gravity of the situation. And you're saying, all right, now stay with me, listen. No. We just got our timeline moved back, our budget's been cut, we're being audited, and JACO's coming, Joint Commission, and we got a virus in the computer, and we got patients lined up in the hallway, and the sky is falling, and this person will stare at you like a dog gazing at a ceiling fan. Until eventually she will wander off mumbling to herself, well, like in 100 years from now, is this really going to make any difference? And the type B has the potential to live a long lifespan, unless at that particular moment they're standing next to a type A. It's going to strangle them to death. But healthcare in this room are actually filled with a third personality type. It's rampant in healthcare. We're drawn to the healthcare industry by our personality. 9 times out of 10, it's female. There was a book written about it a couple of decades ago, and it's called the Type E personality, the person who tries to be everything for everybody. And you're so busy taking care of everybody else's needs that your own needs never get met. And Type E's, they are great to have on your team because, man, it's like watching a duck on water. On top, everything is nice and smooth, and underneath, they're just paddling as fast as they can. And eventually, though, here's the problem. Eventually, the Type E reaches a point and baby, they're going down. And not only do they, and usually precipitated by a little passive-aggressive behavior, there's a red flag. But when they go down, they take people with them. And I can tell you from personal experience, unfortunately, it's hard on coworkers, and it's hard on family members, and it's hard on friends. And let me give you a snapshot of a Type E, and you decide for yourself, am I working with this person, living with this person, married to this person, or oh my gosh, it's me. A Type E, typically a woman, she's going to get up in the morning and she's going to make sure that everybody's got something nutritious to eat and something clean to wear, and that they're off to work and off to school with their briefcase and their book bag on time. She will then scurry around the house picking up any dirty dishes and putting them in the dishwasher, and any dirty clothes and putting them in the washing machine. And after one more round straightening everything, she runs to her room, throws open her closet, hoping to find something that's clean and in her current size. Once dressed, she hurries off for work, and now she's going to make sure that the coworkers are happy, the patients are happy, the residents are happy, the staff is happy, the administrators are happy, the supervisors are happy, the doctor's happy, and if it's anybody's birthday, she baked cupcakes. After a long day at work, she hurries for home, but not before she picks up her kids, the grandkids, or the neighborhood kids, takes them to piano, to karate, to football. She runs to the grocery store, then gathers everybody up, takes them where they belong. Once she's at home, she's making sure that somebody's doing their homework and that the significant other is fondling the remote control. And in all fairness to him, she has trained him that this is a perfectly safe and acceptable task. Because any time before when he has said, is there something I can help you with? Her response is, no, I can do it myself. How'd you know that? So now she fixes another nutritious meal, this time perhaps out of a bag or a box. And once everybody is seated to eat, now she dashes back out into the community. Because now it's her turn. She's going to take a class, volunteer at church, PTO, or teach CPR, all on her own time. Finally, at the end of an extremely long evening, she heads for home, makes sure the baths and homework is done, one more run around the house for any more dishes or laundry, and finally, at the end of an extremely long day, she makes her way to her room, and she collapses on her bed, absolutely exhausted. And then her husband rolls over. Big smile on his face. Always the optimist. Says something romantic like, feeling lucky? She snarls back, don't touch me. He doesn't get it because he's like, why is she never in the mood? Because he's not been empathetic enough to step into her shoes. How can we practice that empathy, stepping into another's shoes?